Hello and welcome to this session. We have with us Professor Rishikesh Krishnan, who is the director of IIM Bangalore. He's a professor of strategy and management, a best-selling author, and a leading columnist. Welcome to the session, Rishi.
Yeah, thank you. Great to be with you.
Rishi, obviously the much hackneyed question is, what should we see and expect going forward with work from home and people sort of feeling the blurring lines between work and life? And what would that mean for, management theory and management practice?
Yeah, well, I think the first few months after the pandemic started, we saw a lot of flux in this area. People were getting used to working from home. Many people's home spaces were not suited to this. You had different members of the family, each on a call at the same time, kids trying to study online. And I think sort of things have settled down to some equilibrium now. People have figured out how to ration everything from bandwidth to physical space to sort of figure out how to coexist at home. But notwithstanding that, I have a feeling that many people are itching to go back to the workplace, at least in India. I saw a post yesterday by somebody who's connected to me on LinkedIn, and he had a picture of himself in his office. And I think yesterday was the first day he went back to work. And he was saying how relieved he was and how happy he was to see other faces in the office and to be able to physically interact with people. So I think in India, we are quite used to connecting with people physically. That's also one of the reasons we are not that maybe efficient and clinical as people are in workplaces abroad, because we do spend time even in the office, catching up with people socially and chatting and things like that. But that's very much the sort of dynamic of the Indian workplace. So I think we have to see what happens after the pandemic is over. I think some companies which are more global, more knowledge work oriented, where this physical connectivity is not that important, where even the culture of the organization is a little more sort of clinical, professional, maybe you'll see work from home continuing unimpeded after the pandemic. But I have a feeling that many Indian workplaces will go back to trying to have physical spaces and people actually going to office. And of course, some places it will be absolutely necessary, like factories and service industries and so on.
But what would that then look for, the whole practice of management and leadership? Because even if people do go back to physical workspaces, I think it's pretty much certain it's not going to be 100% of the workforce, right? So barring industries, like you said, in the shop floor or maybe hospitality or retail, but by and large offices, I think we'll see a significant percentage of people still working from home in some way or the other. And what would that mean? I'm sure you're wondering about some of these questions because that will find its way into your curricula going forward.
So I think we should look at all of this against the backdrop of what was happening even earlier or what had begun to happen. So if you look at the increasing automation of work, the increasing use of Internet of Things and robotic process automation and a lot of other new technologies which have been coming in, the workplace was already beginning to change even before the pandemic started. And what we were seeing was what many people were beginning to call a kind of augmented workplace, where a lot of the basic tasks and processes are done by machines, but human beings essentially add the elements that machines can't do. So in that context, there were already significant changes happening and predicted in the way management would be practiced in companies and other organizations. And we were certainly seeing that outside India. We were just beginning to see that inside India as well. What is likely to happen as a result of the pandemic is this trend is likely to get accelerated and accentuated. which means a lot of routine tasks will get taken care of by computers and machines. And it's the more creative tasks, or the tasks where intuition is still required, or where, for example, where design is required, maybe, where people would continue to be required in a big way. I think managerial jobs will also continue, though the nature of the managerial task will differ. So maybe you'll have to use more data, it will be more digital, the layers of management will sort of go down. Maybe a lot of the middle managers may not be required anymore. So all these trends which were being spoken about before the pandemic are likely to be more visible in India. What does this mean for management in India? I think it means that managers in India are going to require more specific skills. They're going to require the ability to deal with large amounts of data. The few managers whose main claim to fame was that they had intuition, or they had some lot of experiential knowledge which enabled them to fill in when data was not available, maybe the role and space for such managers will decrease. But I don't actually expect managers in India to sort of disappear. I think managerial roles will remain. And the reason I say that is there's also a lot of work to be done in India. Just looking at the kind of economic recovery which is required, looking at the kind of goals the country has in terms of all this $5 trillion economy, particularly if you want to reach there from the point we are at now and the trajectory we're at now, there's going to be a lot of work which needs to be done. And I don't think all of that is going to be done digitally. So I personally believe that even though there will be change in the nature of managerial work, managers will continue to remain important in India for at least some time to come.
Right. And that's so true, because, we still have large parts of the country, in rural sort of spaces, which, digitalization is still to a large extent, a massive dream, several years away, right? The kind of
that we expect. You're absolutely right. I just read a news item a few days ago about how there was this whole connectivity scheme I think in Chhattisgarh, and how one of the companies had just, completed just a small part of the contract which had been awarded to them. So if that is the situation in other states as well, you can just imagine how connectivity is. And we've seen that on the ground as well. For example, all our classes have been online for the last several months. And we've had significant challenges faced by our students, particularly when they are outside the metros and the next tier of cities.
True.
Even though they're supposed to be broadband and many places have 4G and all the rest, students have found consistent, high quality internet reception or internet communication that allows them to participate for hours on end in an interactive learning process has not been easy at all.
True. Yeah. Rishi, what has been your personal sort of experience over the last 7-8 months? The pandemic has been such a huge leveler, whether you're right on top of the pyramid in terms of the organization structure or at the bottom, we're all almost equally vulnerable. Everyone's had to make some changes to their work life, schedule, balance, and the mental mindset, the mental makeup, in terms of agility, resilience, fighting the crises. What are some of the key takeaways which corporates can take from your experience?
Well, I don't know if there are much that corporates can take, but I'm happy to share my experience with you. So I think a few good things have happened. One is a lot of mad travel has stopped. People used to think nothing of calling you to another city thousands of kilometers away for an hour's meeting, and you would waste so much time in going there and coming back. So I'm just delighted that all those meetings are now online and you can just complete them in no time. The government has adopted the online stuff in a big way, which is a great relief, because some amount of our work is with the government, and that used to involve a fair amount of travel as well. So I think there are some good things which have come out of this. It also gave me personally a chance to catch up on some of my writing work, because I had more time available since there was no travel, even no local travel within the city for a few months. So these have been the good aspects of it. The not so good aspects have been, I think, the sort of disconnect with people, the difficulty in actually meeting people. Whatever you may say, meeting someone on a Zoom call is not the same thing as meeting them in person. So I certainly feel some disconnect from a lot of my friends and colleagues, and particularly professional colleagues. So that's been a disadvantage. It's also been a disadvantage in terms of connecting with students and others in our academic programs. We often have a lot of interaction on campus with the students when they are here, and that's not been possible because of the pandemic. So that's certainly, I think it's reminded us of how integral the whole exercise of interacting and communicating with others is. Things like crisis management and all of, actually, I think we've generally seen that a lot of people have risen to the occasion, I must say, including our employees. So it's good to see the sort of natural resilience that people have demonstrated and displayed. In a way, in India, I think we are no stranger to crisis. Most people have, at least at the personal level, seen enough crises in their lifetimes. So that does make us, in a way, naturally resilient. So I mean, you can just look at it at the way all those waves of migrants moving across the country, while of course it was a really sad sight to see, but you can just see those people walked hundreds of kilometers, and there were very few riots or even demonstrations or anything. People took it in their stride, literally, and just went back home. So I mean, that India is a resilient country, I think there is absolutely no doubt. I think we've also shown that we can be pretty good at adopting to new technology. Yeah. So some changes which people were not very comfortable with earlier happened in almost no time during the pandemic. So I think that's another sort of good thing that's happened. So some technology adoption has got speeded up. So this has been basically my experience. I don't know, I'm not very sure what the lessons are. I think by and large, I think Indian organizations have coped. What was interesting, of course, is that some of the smaller organizations and some of the more flexible organizations coped much better to start with. If you just take retail, for example, it was the Kirana stores which were the lifeline for people in the first couple of months, particularly when there was the very stringent lockdown. And all our dear digital and e-commerce friends really struggled during that period. Subsequently, they managed to get their act together, but their systems were in a way somewhat rigid. I mean, when there was a lot of disruption, the systems couldn't really cope with that disruption so easily. It had to be very deliberately reconfigured in a way. So I'm not sure how adaptive and agile some of those retail giants are, but the small guys on the road, I think, showed they were pretty adaptable, and so did many of the manufacturing companies. I mean, for example, if you take a company like Hindustan Unilever, I think almost throughout their products were there in the supply chain. There were, of course, physical barriers initially because of truck movement and so on. But by and large, a lot of the big guys, HUL, ITC, and so on, you've seen a lot of their products almost continuously available in the last few months. So it's certainly been interesting.
Yeah. No, clearly there is, you're so right. There is some merit to the entire MSME story in India when we say that they are the backbone. It's not just in terms of their sheer numbers, but their agility, resilience, and the ability to deliver in sort of tough circumstances. So thank you so much, Rishi. It's been a great session with you. We've come to the end, and some candid views and some great thoughts. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Kumar. Great to talk to you as always.